Thank you for tuning in today. This is the Artist Abstract, and today we have a new creation, an old take on a classic, the cold cut. And with us we have Joachim, the French culinary cook, and so let's jump right into it. All right. So, what do you think about today's sandwich idea? Well, I tell you, I think it is an interesting concept to make like as a French toast using our favorite potato chips. Yeah, I thought about this for a while, and I took some chicken and made a crusted chicken breast with Doritos with the sriracha flavor. And that turned out really nice, so I thought, why not just make a sandwich? Because often we love potato chips with our sandwiches in the summer. Yes, and I know that you like to put your potato chips inside of the sandwich. So this just makes sense to make a one giant potato chip sandwich or two big potato chips through the process of the French toast. I can see that you are making them into very tiny pieces here. Yeah, the tiny pieces, I figured, I don't want these big pieces trying to stick to the French toast per se. I wanted little tiny ones so that it gives like an even and thicker crust for the sandwich. And it's cool that nowadays they have all kinds of different flavors. When I was in France, I remember that you could get like roasted chicken and some other things. And then when I came back, I realized that we were starting to pick up on it. And you could get like the flavored Reuben and sea salt things. Yes, this is where you go to make your eggs and make the French toast mix. Yeah, French toast is another one of my favorite things. The important thing about like French toast or making this kind of a sandwich is picking the proper bread, because nobody likes a piece of bread that you throw into this milk egg wash, and then it comes apart or it doesn't keep its consistency. So that's an important factor when considering either making French toast or making this sandwich. Yes, this is why we use that thing called the Texas toast, because it is so much bigger. I do like the Texas toast. It is pretty neat toast. I also like that to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or peanut butter and honey sandwiches. I do like that I decided to use some big plates so that I could get an even coating without having to worry about getting an even consistency in a bowl or not having enough space. I think that is a mistake a lot of people do when they are trying to bread something like, I guess, the bread or their chicken breast most often, is that they pick a surface or a thing that does not properly allow to coat. I see that you have a very long piece of bread. Yeah, I decided to get, oh my gosh, what is this pan? That looks like it needed some help. Yeah, that pan has seen some action for sure. But anyway, it is nice to see that you have chosen a nice bread to go with this. Indeed, I decided on a specialty bread that I got at the store. One of the things that I was looking for was a long rustic piece. It was like a sourdough, so it was on sale, and it was good. It was made that day, so I was excited to experiment with this bread. I can see that you are taking extra precaution to make sure that it is entirely crusted. Very well done. I know that one thing in this process that I like that you use the big plate and the multiple chips is that often the chips get too soggy before they go into the fryer. So that can be a hindrance when you're trying to make multiple pieces out of one bag. Another thing is to try to portion your chips and your French toast mix properly so you're not wasting. There's nothing worse than wasting products. So now you throw these into the fryer, not fryer, but the frying pan. And now you're doing these sides to make the cold cut. So the thing about cold cuts is that a long time ago I used to eat them every day and I didn't mind them. But if anything, you got to reinvent things as if you're seeing it, tasting it, or having it for the first time. Why are you using a bread knife on a tomato? Well, I'll be honest, I like the tomato or the bread knife. It just honestly cuts through everything. And it was one of my go-to items in the culinary world to cut vegetables like tomatoes. I see you've got a little tiny head of lettuce. Very nice. So you are going to do tomato and some lettuce. Very nice. You going to do some onion? Yeah, I did decide that I would throw some onion in on this. I'm a big fan of onion. So I definitely considered that. I did consider some other sauces and other items. One thing that I tried to look for when I was making this sandwich, or the blueprints for it, was sprouts. I do love a good sandwich with a hearty bread of sprouts. But either they're not in season or I just couldn't find them. Another thing that I thought about adding was actual pickles, or taking a cucumber and slicing it and adding to the theme of the pickle chips. That would not be a bad idea. I know that sometimes on my sandwich, or doesn't matter what sandwich, I love to have the sprouts. It's like eating or taking a bite of spring. I see that your bread is now in the frying pan, browning, and you have your sides ready, and you're doing cheese. Yeah, I'm gonna do, I did a white cheddar extra sharp, one of my favorite cheeses. And so those combinations, that kind of cheese usually goes on every one of my sandwiches, so to speak. I have seen this cutting board in many films of yours. Yeah, that cutting board is my little go-to cutting board on just about everything. Sure, I know that you should have multiple cutting boards for like meats, vegetables, so on and so forth, but it is what it is. Now we are getting to the onion. One thing I think I would have done is sauteed the onion with a bit of garlic and have sauteed onions, but that is no problem. But you're going to go with the raw version of this onion. I like onions on just about everything, and especially the mushrooms. I'm not sure that a dry mushroom or unsauteed mushrooms would be good on this sandwich, but I think definitely sauteed mushrooms and onions would be good. Even some jalapenos. Alright, now you're getting close to checking the bread. Yeah, one of the problems about making this type of a sandwich is that keeping your heat at a kind of a medium temperature, because you don't want the potato chips burning or the bread burning, but you want everything cooked, especially the egg through the bread. Process can happen quite quickly. As you can see on that side that it was starting to brown and black a little bit, which is okay. So we decided to flip it. Yes, I see you use the famous technique, the jostle, to flip your bread. It looks very nice. I got to admit, it comes out crunchy and like the sun. Yeah, I put the cheese on it, and away we went with it. For sure, I made a lot of different types of sandwiches. I like to use a lot of different types of bread. One thing I would like to try to start getting away from is like a bagel sandwich. There's just too much bread. So that being said, This is also a lot of bread, considering that it's not just the bread, but it's also potato chips. Yes, I understand. I do like to make sandwiches in hamburgers and the tortillas so that it is less bread, but you still get what you want in a device to hold it together. Now I'm about ready to assemble the sandwich and put it all together. So, yeah, it's a quick sandwich. It's a nice summer sandwich. Actually, it's pretty much all year round, but it definitely plays to the summer, and you can make it pretty quick as we've demonstrated here. One of my favorite things is that I think that horseradish would have done really well. Some of the meats that we picked was ham and turkey. I think that a roast beef would go really well, especially if you were to do the onions and the mushrooms kind of like a melt. I agree 100%. This sandwich has so much potential to be all kinds of things. Like you could serve it with au jus and have it take on the French dip. It would no longer be a cold cut. This is like really pushing the envelope on being a cold cut. As I can see, the meat was not sauteed. So, I give this one definitely a 10 out of 10 because it has creativity, it has much character in it, and I like where are you going with this. It kind of shows that you can take the traditional sandwich, the boring sandwich, and turn it into something entirely new. I know a lot of places like to toast their sandwiches and go with the toasty toast. But this is much more than the toasty toast. Yeah, and now I'm bringing it up for final inspection. I did cut it, forgetting to put the onions on it and the sauces. So that was kind of frustrating, but I mean, long story short, it came out looking beautiful. As you can see, here I am now putting the onions on it. One of the things that I have learned about making sandwiches like this and other specialties and dinners is that, this would be like $12, $13 at a restaurant, and I made it for like $6, $7. So the idea of going out to restaurants to eat and get food is becoming so passe. I could not agree more. I think we should stop to look at trying to do private caterings for people and make and bring these delicious sandwiches and your other meals and some of my delicious crepes to people and bring that type of happiness, because people do love to eat. Oh, I know. That's one of the great things about cooking, is that it's so rewarding, is that not only do you get to make something delicious, but you get to eat it too. It's art all the way around for sure. And no, I did not make the noodle salad. I ended up just getting that outsourced. So there it is. Well, I really want to tell you thank you for joining us, and I look forward to you joining us next time. So be sure to tune in and see what we've got coming up next. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.